Everybody, how's it going? It's Thursday, which means we are now officially starting the next catch up playthrough because, well, this was planned to be the thing that I didn't think it was going. Anyway, we're doing the Apollo Trilogy, which means yes, we're doing the Apollo Justice, Ace Attorney, Apollo Phoenix Wright, Dual Destinies, and Phoenix Wright Spirit of Justice. So, yep, I had to make sure everything's working. Let's just get into it. Oops. I was checking. But we're going to kick things off with Apollo Justice. There are, for anyone who's not wondering, as this one, I'm going to quickly cover this. There are a total of 16 episodes. 5 for Spirit of Justice, 5 Dual Destiny, 5 and 4 for Apollo Justice. 2 special episodes, 1 for Dual Destinies, and 1 for Spirit of Justice. We'll just kick things off with Apollo's journey. And I will be doing it all. Turnabout Trump, the very first episode. This was the first game since the Phoenix Wright trilogy, if I'm remembering right. And this was after the Rise from the Ashes case and also proper sequel. Showdown time. You lose. Yee! I actually can't remember much. I remember the names of the cases, but I don't remember the actual cases. I seem to be in a bit of trouble. Something like that. Dead. Someone hit him hard. Me? Please. The cops should be here any minute. I'm in your hands. Should have come to that. April 20th, 9:37 a.m. District Court, defendant lobby number 3. Panicked. I'm sweaty. Take a minute. I'm nervous. See, well, ooh. I like the new presentation actually. Attorney's badge. How long did I yearn for one of these? This pillow makes me feel ready. We can do this because I'm going to do part of this one. There's a number inscribed in the back of the badge. There are many numbers like it, but this one's mine. Proof that I'm an attorney. Tell the truth, I get a happy feel inside just looking at it. Associate floor, Shally Smith, unknown age, male. Estimated time of death, April 17th, between 1:45 a.m. and 2:15 a.m. Cause of death, cerebral hemorrhaging resulting from blunt force trauma to the forehead. Crystal Gavin, boss of the Gavin Law Office, first rate defense attorney, and my trusted mentor. Unknown person, my first client. Just standing in front of this guy makes me nervous. Shally Smith, the victim's case, a traveler, only recent back in the country. Ah, good morning. Good morning, sir. You look tense, Justice. Wound up tight. Wind up, sir. Wind up, sir. No, I'm loose. I'm fine. We do have the history, by the way. That's I'm fully put back into this. That screechy noise. Is that your voice? I suppose it's to be expected. Your first trial, and it's a homicide. I guess Dutch justice doesn't smart at all, eh? I'm fine! I got up at 5 a.m. to do my chores to steal voice workout. I'm fine! Ah, that explains it. I did detect a certain rasping quality in your screech. Do your screech. I overdid it again! As you know, your client today is a good friend of mine. What's that? I wouldn't want to let him down, if you get my drift. Drift gotten, sir! I'm all over that drift! That's what happens. I die. Afternoon, I hope you have a good day. Afternoon, as it happens, I died with him on the night of the murder. We can't let this kiss fall through. Yes! Yes! I'm fine, sir! One more thing. Don't say you're fine quite so much. People might take you the wrong way. I'll be preparing our case. You might want to introduce yourself to the client. My name's apologies. They're hovering on today. If it isn't clear already, I'm a new attorney. And today is my first trial. Not that I'm murder or anything. The defendant has been accused of murder. My boss wants to help him out, of course. And so do I. I mean, there's no way he did it. Not him. No way. Whoa! Good, morning. Morning. It's all up to you today. First trial, nervous, meeting him, cardiac arrest. I think I'm supposed to say something. Help. So you're fine. I'm fine. Ah, Mr. Fine, is it? I do remember you having an odd name. I did remember you having an odd name. Well, we're off to a great start. Are you sure you're okay? I mean, with me? Mr. Goblin is a top-notch defense attorney. And he's your friend. So why? You'll see. You can do it. Be confident. I'm really sorry this happened to you. It's time, shall we? Yes, sir. Okay, I need to focus. First trial. Here comes justice. April 20th, 10 a.m. District Court, courtroom number 2. Wow, I'm gonna admit they really spruced up the courtroom for justice. I'm looking forward to get to spare the justice on Dual Destinies. The court is now in session. Prosecution is ready, Your Honor. The defense is, fine. Ready, Your Honor. Mind going blank. No panic. Ah! Too late. Your name is Mr. Justice? This is your first trial? Yes, Your Honor. But I'm fine. Really? Are you quite sure? Your voice sounds a bit strained. Mr. Gavin? Yes, Your Honor. Yep. I think he's literally just out of law school for this one, and he's not even 2 days into his career, he's already in a murder case. Yes, Your Honor? I'm under the impression that you would be heading up this case. That was my intention, yes. However, a defense attorney must always set the heed to his client's wishes. And my client specifically requested Mr. Justice. Well, of course he wants justice. But to entrust this case to this greenhorn? Why? You're not Cedric, but I say... Hey, that you're the best defense attorney in town, Mr. Gavin. Okay, so Gavin's got trial experience. Fine. But does he have chores of steel? And let's begin. The defendant may enter the courtroom. This is truly an unfortunate turn of events. I'm sorry we had to meet again under these circumstances. Long time no see, Mr. Wright. Let's put the past behind us, shall we? These days, I'm merely Phoenix Wright, piano player. Mr. Wright? How could this have happened? I wouldn't speak of it further then. If the prosecution would be so kind as to explain the charges, Mr. Peng? To think I saw you enter this courtroom a fresh attorney, and now I see you leave in chains. Ah, Winston Pien. Subtle as ever, I see. The crime occurred at the Borscht Bowl Club, a Russian restaurant. I think I got the name wrong. The defendant, Phoenix Wright, took the victim, a customer, and he hit him. Wham! On the head! Smacked! Killed him cold! A customer in a restaurant, you say? And the defendant, you say he was... the pianist for the club, it seems. Why, we're still going to do the formula of I'll do 2 parts per string, so... Again, Phoenix Wright? A pianist? This is the weapon that took the victim's life. A bottle of grape juice. Grape juice is apparently your defendant's drink of choice. The court accepts the deadly bottle as evidence. They bow out of the court records. Something to note, Justice. All evidence filed in the court record. Make a practice of checking it frequently. The court record. Right. I've heard of that. What are we doing now? Grape juice. How long has it been since I drank grape juice? Apparently, it's Mr. Wright's favorite drink. I wonder how well it goes with Borch. The bottle is completely empty. Come on, check it. Yeah, it's updated. Okay. Phoenix Wright, pianist of the Borscht Bowl Club, formerly an ace defense attorney for some renown. Of course, Winston Pien, age 61, the prosecuting attorney for all his experience, he lacks a certain presence. Use R1 to look at the evidence so far. I'm confident in your ability to handle this. Right, just use R1. Sounds like it's time for some hands-on action. So the victim was a customer of this restaurant? Just who is this, Shadi Smith fellow? We believe he was a traveler, Your Honor. Traveler? According to his passport, he has been out of the country for a number of years. No. He only returned to the country recently, though his place of residence is unclear. Alright, and he had some sort of connection with the defendant? Okay. Oh, I know. Yeah, right. I know what you were doing. Okay. Work right there this morning, if anything. That too is unclear present, Your Honor. We believe they first met at the Borscht Bowl Club on the night of the crime. Okay. Need to double check something here. This one might take us a few months, maybe. If they had only just met, then why murder? Perhaps the victim slighted the defendant's piano playing? That doesn't appear to have been the case. No, the motive has nothing to do with the defendant's lack of playing skills. At least not piano playing. I'll let this photo explain what I mean. As we can see, a game of poker was in progress at the scene of the crime. Wait a second. I've only seen the intro. I haven't seen the rest. I need to get around to watching the rest of that. Yeah, look good so far. Isn't poker gambling? That's a crime in of itself! Indeed. It appears our defendant has fallen to become a baseless sort of criminal. Oh, sorry, baseless sort of criminal. It is true that the defendant was engaged in a game of poker with the victim. Yet it was only that. A game in the pure sense. A competition, Your Honor. A competition? Yes, a test of wits. A silent clash of passions. Only the cards, their back red in blue flame, know its final outcome. Come again? The cards on the table have blue backs, Your Honor. I believe the defense was waxing poetic in an attempt to mystify those present and impress women. This will be our first order of business here then. To find out more about this fatal game of cards. Very well, defendant. You will testify to the court about the poker competition held at the night of the crime. My pleasure. This is it. My first trial. Here goes nothing. And come to me. I am a pianist by trade, yet I can hardly play at all. My real job is to take on interested customers over at the poker table. The rumor play and the competition in there are the club's main attractions. Oh. The rules are simple. You play a game of poker using 2 decks of cards. That's all it is. A game. And their customers are happy. Oh yeah, what do you think of Hobo Phoenix? I think that was what we dubbed it. A pianist who can't play piano? Better than an defense attorney who can't defend. Ouch. Very well, the defense may begin the cross-examination. You're right, Your Honor. Yep, my first cross-examination. Don't blow it. Are you alright? You're sweating bullets. Bullets? Where? It's a figure of speech, Justice. Your voice sounds strained and raspy too. My brain feels strained and raspy, sir. You've watched me perform cross-examinations many times. No, your nerves don't one yourself, have you? Care for a refresher? What do I do? Should you ask Mr. Gavin for a refresher course on cross-examination? Nah, I'm good. No need help here, sir. I think I've got this one covered. I think you'll better do more than think. You know it? Or do you not? Fine. The torches here are ready for battle. My weapon, press and percent. Find any inconsistencies, any lies in the testimony, and reveal them to the court. That is cross-examination. Learn it, know it, do it. Inconsistencies, lies, Phoenix, right? That's an if. Phoenix would never lie. It's up to me to prove it. The defense may begin the cross-examination. Oh, sweet to hop that back. The little side parts. Yay! Oh, I think they've gone quite a bit out of the way for this one. You can hardly play? Oh, I play sometimes. When customers demand it. Do I play them once so? That's usually all they want. Is that supposed to be a boast just now? The title of pianist is a mask. A respectable face I wear for the world at large. And why are you really at the Boorish Ball Club? They pay you just to play poker? That would seem to be the case. I'm a professional after all. Bah! Do I detect pride in that statement? It's hard for an honest, hard-working member of society like me to imagine. Yes, your imagination was always a bit limited, Winston. What? I played poker for 7 years in that little room. And I've never lost. Once. What? You see why the customers come now? Defeat the undefeatable poker champion. It's quite a draw. That is, I'm quite a draw. But you've never lost once? Not even one time? As I said, I'm a professional. He's played poker for 7 years and not lost once? Is that even possible? The room in the crime scene photo is an attraction? It has quite a history, actually. The Boorish Ball Club used to be a gathering spot for black market types back in the day. Black market? All in the past. Things like the black market are only on the silver screen nowadays. Suffice it to say that there were a number of deals being under the table. Right there in that room. A smoking room? Gambling hoods? You know, just looking at this picture makes me feel fun. The bosses gather around the table, cutting deals, safe from the eyes of the law. Meanwhile, the goons keep watch through the small window. I can practically picture it now. A window does look like it would be good for keeping a lookout for a little house. The room had a few other tricks to it. No, it was common knowledge to our regulars. At any rate, they come to play poker in a room steeped in history. Despite the dark past, it was all just good, clean fun. Two decks of cards? A simple measure to prevent cheating. If you alter two decks, no one can slip in cards. Huh, that's actually kind of a smart thing. There's something else I noticed. In addition to the cards on the table, there are some lines scattered on the floor. Precisely. Cards on the table, cards up on the floor. Each one forming the complete deck. A crime scene painted blue by a sad sweep of cards. It's poetic, really. Incidentally, we use two types of cards at the club. One deck, the cards was red, the other blue. As I recall, in poker you make 5-card hands. I can see how it would be easy to cheat. Yes, a game of hands. This competition you're talking about? I believe the court understands the nature of the game sufficiently. That's right! It was a simple game, after all. Are you sure? Huh? People are not murdered over simple games, Mr. Justice. Defendant, you were in the room at the very moment the crime occurred. You claim no connection to the crime. Afternoon, Jason. Hope you're having a good day. Now that's strange. What's strange? Yeah, maybe, not... I saw the thing from last night, yes. Okay. I guess I'll check it. But also... I did not think it'd be quite... If you're gonna show me things I got later, maybe not put it on the Discord. Okay. I was testifying about the competition that night. Oh. Okay. You do give to a lot of stuff, don't you? To a few things I got, don't you? Hey, I was testifying about the competition that night. Asking me about the crime at this point is against the rules, Your Honor. Of course, I expected to hear a cry of objection from the defense. I completely let that one slip by. Don't despair yet, Justice. Sir? Right? There's something that I'd like to make clear. Namely, your connection to the case at hand. And I'd like to hear from you. Sure, why not? Very well. The defendant will amend his testimony. Just one little press. And I've got myself a whole new testimony. I plead silence regarding the murder. But I will say I never touched the murder weapon. Silence? The defendant has a right to refuse to testify. I haven't forgotten everything about the law. But why? That clearly puts you at a disadvantage. It's your job to turn that around in our favor, yes? Great. Like I didn't have enough to do already. Justice? Didn't you detect anything odd about that testimony? Huh? Wait, something he said did ring it a little strangely. Just one little thing. And what was it? When you figure it out, I suggest presenting evidence. Evidence that contradicts the testimony. A contradiction in Mr. Wright's testimony? But why? I better check the court record. I can't imagine Mr. Wright lying in a testimony. Isn't it a little early to be jumping to conclusions? This is your first cross-examination. Take it slow. If you need more information, don't forget to press. Right, I got it. I'm fine. Time to listen to that testimony again. As we haven't done this one yet. So, you claim you weren't gambling? That's right. It was simply a game. You didn't bet any money? Not even a little? The only thing at stake in our game was pride itself. Oh, well put, Mr. Wright! I've got a mind to play a hand of poker myself. The stakes, your fate! Can we get back to the trial now? At first, I'm haunted. So you say you didn't touch the murder weapon, this grape juice bottle, right? So I said, something the matter, Mr. Justice? Too bad our new defense attorney never learned how to play dumb. What's that, Mr. Payne? I examined the bottle in question, you see. And it was covered with the defendant's fingerprints! Objection! No need to stop, Mr. Justice. I can hear you just fine. Excessive yelling can damage the judge's ears. And our case. But what about my charge of steal? Anyway, What's so strange about fingerprints on a bottle in a restaurant? Well, that's true. The prints alone don't prove. Yeah, the prints alone didn't prove that he didn't. Objection. Oh, that wouldn't prove a thing if they were normal fingerprints. Huh? But the fingerprints on the murder weapon were upside down. Upside down? What does that mean? It means he was holding the bottle inverted. And there can be only one reason for that. Yes! To bring someone with a bottle. With the bottle. Arrgh! Mr. Goblin! Things took a turn for the worse. Things just took a turn for the worse. Oh. I see no problem. Justice. Huh? The only thing that matters is the truth. There's a good reason for everything you see. Defendant! Can you explain your fingerprints on this bottle to the court? I stand by my plea of silence regarding the murder. For now. Not very cooperative, are you? This could hurt your case! I'm sure he's uncooperative because he's hiding something. There must be a reason. Objection! Your Honor, you seem to have forgotten something. And what that might that be, Mr. Gavin? On the night of the crime, who was it? Who was it who reported the murder to the police? Reported? Well, that would be the defendant, Mr. Wright. But still, that really? Yes. Well, according to the case file, the murder was reported from near the scene by a call from the defendant's cell phone. Near the scene? Let's take a look at the diagram of the murder scene, shall we? The victim was murdered in a small room in the basement 2 floors below ground, down from the ground level. I'm remembering. Of course, cell phones can't get reception so far down. The defendant used the stairs in this hallway to go above ground. The call came from the first floor of the restaurant. I see. And this is the phone that made the call? Right, cell phone, out of the court record. Used by the defendant to notify police from the restaurant's first floor. The defendant could have just fled the scene of the crime if he so choose. Might be something that... What? The battery's being held by a piece of tape. She just bought a new one. Maybe he can't afford it. Or he just doesn't care. Oh. That may be important later, though. Yet, he fulfilled his duty as a civilian and reported it to the authorities. And you claim to be... you claim he is being uncooperative. I saved Mr. Goblin. I better not waste this. I think the prosecution has toyed for Clan enough for the time being. Toy? I assure you, no one is more serious about... What was it you said? The defense was in the room the very moment that the crime occurred? How can you possibly know that? That's a good question! How indeed? The answer is simple, Your Honor. The prosecution has a decisive witness. You're as good as they say you are. So someone else in the room... so someone else was in the room the night of the crime? That must mean they witnessed the crime. Everything up till now has been a warm-up, Justice. Are you ready? Very well. The prosecution may call its first witness to the stand. The witness will now state her name or profession. Hold on just a moment. Where's the witness? I summarize that she has been frightened by the defense's demonic-looking horn. So I use a little hair gel. Relax, people. Have no fear. If any horns point in your direction, this corp will cut them off. You are sure? I swear on my gravel. Please come out. Isn't violence against her crime, Your Honor? Well, if you're sure it is okay. No, the prosecution. Wait a minute. Would the prosecution care to explain the witness's paraphernalia? Yes. She is a professional, Your Honor. Those are merely the tools of her trade. And that would be... My name is Olga O'Reilly. O'Reilly. I'm an employee of as waitress in Boorish Bowl Club restaurant. Then, why the camera? Of course, it is my pride to serve Boorish that is named in restaurant. But I also perform, I hate to say, other services? Other service? Sorry. I take it one of those other services is taking the customer's picture. Like for example, this one. That's the defendant. I'm not spoiling anything in this one. All right. Mainly because I actually forget things as well. I remember a few things, but not all of it. Indeed, on the night of the murder, man in white hat is one who has gone kaput. Indeed. Sorry, and this is the victim. Order! This is quite a piece of evidence to casually drop on into our laps. It is the same way as I drop bowls of porridge on laps of customers. Actually, and the court will casually accept this new evidence. Ola's photo. The photo of Mr. Smith. Sorry, the defendant and Mr. Smith at the Boorish Bowl Club. Now, witness, where were you at the time of the murder? I was in room, the hideout, we call it. Excuse me? The hideout? It is room where famous gangsters Bangai was arrested. It's room where murder took place. What? You look of utter surprise. It is lovely. I will post my courtroom door later for you. The photo will be numbered, and you will write which one you want a copy of. There were 3 people in the room at the time of the crime. Victim, Shelley Smith, Mr. Wright, and Olga O'Reilly, our witness. And if Mr. Wright isn't the killer, that means... Very well, witness! You will testify to the court about that night's events. That fateful night. That night, customer asked me to deal cards for game. It was cold. Both players played with hats on, The victim, he played the whole time with his hand on locket at his neck. Then, last hand done, but something terrible has happened, That man flew a victim and strangled him to death. I think it's clear what the contradiction is. Incidentally, who won the game? Isn't it obvious? The winner was the victim, Mr. Smith. Objection! That's ridiculous. Because Mr. Wright can't lose. Justice. Maybe you can come up with a more legitimate objection. But he hasn't lost in 7 years. Take it from me, kid. It happens. I did lose my first. I did lose a case my first 7 years as prosecutor. Sorry, I didn't lose a case my first 7 years as prosecutor either. Incidentally, I have some evidence here. Whole house. Oh, it's 2 full houses and 1's king's high. These are the poker chips as they lay the very moment of the crime. The handed chips on this side belong to the defendant, Mr. Wright. Those on the far side belong to the victim, Mr. Smith. Chips, you say? I mean, yes. Imagine that poker is war. Your hand is your army, and the chips are the spoils. I know that. After all, in my youth, I was known as the poker head of corporate number 3. I think he means poker face. Looking at this picture, it does seem that most of the chips are on the victim's side of the table. This shows the defendant and victim's chips when the crime took place. Very well, the defendants may cross-examine the witness. Alright. You were dealing cards? Do you do this often? I am doing this. If customer wishes it, I serve everything. Anything. Butterish, cards, more butterish. It is my work. It's good to hear of a place that hasn't forgotten the meaning of surface. You're welcome to the Boorish Club. Bushbro Club, where Boorish is as warm as the waitresses. Thank you for not handing out flyers during the cross-examination. It's already April. How could it be cold? At Bushbro Club, we have pride in authentic rustic Russian restaurant theme. Outside, it is city in spring, but inside it is always as cold as Mother Russia. Where am I going there? When it comes to hot butterish, cold is best seasoning, da? His locket? I believe it was good luck charm, da? He critted many times as he played that night. Yes, he must have felt as though it might carry him into the moon and the stars. Though if it were small enough to fit around his neck, it wouldn't have much lift. The defense would like a clarification. This is a locket we're talking about. I mean, a pendant with a picture in it, right? Not a rocket? Of course! I know that! It was probably a pendant shaped like a rocket. That's why she called it that. No! A locket's a locket! It doesn't matter what shape... It doesn't matter what shape it is. It's considered bad form to poke fun at the heart of hearing in our society. Heart of the hearing or heart of understanding. So what happened next? Something terrible? The defense will refrain from needless shouting. Sorry. I need to seriously reconsider this vocal training thing. Hi, Mr. O'Reilly. Can you tell us what happened? Oh, I was so frightened. I trembled with fear. But the defendant would never do such a thing. Well, no, I can't say I've ever heard the defendant try this tactic. It's, if possible, please, refrain from embarrassing me. Still, why would anyone do something like that over a game of poker? Perhaps it is This defendant has lost game. Yes, a crushing defeat for our man undefeated. So it always ends with men like him. Winners pick sore losers. Oh, how the mighty fall. Go on. I believe you know what it is you need to do. Right, sir. Leave it to me. There's only 3 people in the room at the time of the murder. The victim, Shady Smith, Mr. Wright, and Mr. Wright isn't the killer. I've got you now, really. Well, it actually tells you where we are as well. Because it actually does say, cross us on the Olga. That's going to be useful. Objection! Oh, really? Strangled, you say? That's odd. No more customer, only choke on borage. No, I mean, this report shows the victim died of a blow to the head. Mr. Ori? Really? Really, Nye? Did you witness the crime? Looking at the picture, it doesn't seem like he was hit. He's still wearing his hat and everything. Yet, it is a fact that he was hit, Your Honor. Here's a photo we took of the victim with his hat off during our investigation. Well, that's quite shocking, isn't it? This head clearly was hit. Carrying photo 2 out the coat rower. Photo forehead, hat removed during the investigation. But I had seen it happen. In the event, he lunged at victim, his neck. Oh, really, Mr. O'Reilly? I think I've caught you in your own lie this time. Justice? I admire your enthusiasm, or perhaps you should think this through once more. What do you mean? I found a contradiction. There's one thing in her testimony that troubles me. Very well. Seems we should continue the cross-examination. There's such a thing as thinking too much. This horse is dead. Let's stop beating it. There's such a thing as thinking aloud too much, too. That night, customer asked me to do a game. Oh, after the defendant tried to strangle victim, he hit him with bottle. He didn't say anything about hitting before. Sorry, I must be forgetting things now. Witness, you will take greater care of your testimony. I'm sorry, Your Honor. And that clears up the discrepancy with the autopsy report, I believe. The defendant made to strangle his victim, then changed his mind. And choose a simpler, blunter means to do the job. Yeah, that sums it up nicely. So we strangled him, then hit him? Something fishy about all this. Go ahead. I believe you know what it is you need to do. Right, sir. Leave it to me. There's only 3 people in the room at the time of the murder. The victim, Shady Smith, Mr. Wright, and Mr. Wright isn't the killer. I've got you now. Oh, we had that quote. I think there's 2 things here. Oh yeah, it doesn't tell me. I'll try presenting this photo. Objection! Nope. Your Honor, the testament contradicts this evidence. It does? I don't see anything contradictory. You sure about that? Objection overruled. Try to think. Oh crap! Yeah. It didn't go so well.
Objection!
Okay. I need to think of this one. It's definitely not a statement.
Objection!
I'm pretty sure it's that statement. No. Oh, wait. Wait a minute. Damn it. I realized. Oh, there's no save. I realized one of the drawbacks. The two photos.
Objection!
This one doesn't have to lock it. You know, there was one curious part in our testimony, just like Mr. Goblin said. But what does it mean? Mr. Justice, would you care to explain what it is you're thinking so intensely about? Call the testimony, Your Honor. The victim played with his hand on locket at his neck, I believe she said. I hope you aren't about to raise an objection to the witness's grammar. No, but look at this photograph. Do you see a locket on the victim's neck? Well done, Justice. I'm impressed. I knew you'd be able to handle this. But what does it mean? If we were to believe the witness's testimony as is, then the locket disappeared following the victim's death. Lockets don't just disappear, Your Honor. It's quite simple when you think about it. If the locket is gone, someone must have taken it off. No. Taking it off? Wait! You don't mean the defendant wasn't strangling the victim at all. He was taking off his locket. Wouldn't that explain it? Oh! The defendant! What do you have to say to this? Say. Yes? I just noticed this, bud. You have something hanging around your neck, don't you? Oh. You mean this? Yes, it's a locket with a photograph inside. A photo of my daughter. Come again? Is that right? You have a daughter? We confirmed that at the time of the arrest. The picture in the locket is indeed Mr. Wright's daughter. So Mr. Wright has a locket too. Why don't I buy this is just a coincidence? Well now, if the result of the poker game led to the murder, perhaps you should hear a bit more about the outcome of the game. Further testimony won't really be necessary. It's clear the defendant lost. Badly. This, oh really? You will testify to the court about the game played between the victim and the defendant. Serious competition. The game begins with 3,500 points of chips for each man. Pay chips come in two sizes. small and large. The one who was winning thought it was victim. For last hand, defendant play with all chips on table and lose. The moment loss was decided, the defendant grabbed bottle from table and... Indeed, just looking at this picture, does seem to be a one-sided game. As the court knows, poker was the defendant's life. Failure must have been a bitter pill to swallow. Ah, how many times have I heard these words? I done it in a fit of anger, ye honor. Now we're gonna come a common tale, but true. Sorry, and now we're gonna done. Methinks the judge watches too many old court movies. His right said he hasn't lost in 7 years. So this testimony must be wrong. Alright. Are those the usual starting points? I was like, were there any special rules used? No, not special. Usual game, usual rules. Each man begins with 3,500 points. Then the total number would be... exactly 7,000 points. Please, this isn't calculus. It's not even long division. Are the chips in the photo all the chips that were used? Of course. Something's fishy with these chips. Can I press harder? That's it. Maybe you could explain a bit about these chips. Explain? What is there to be explained? Poker chips are poker chips. They're not fish and chips. Not a chip off the old block. Not a motorcycle cop, not a... Thanks. Now that I pressed her, I better ask something. What are these chips worth? Are they in dollars or rupees even? Nah. As I've been saying before, it was game, not gambling. Hard perhaps for calculus to understand. 2 types of chips. 100 points chips and 1,000 points chips. It is not money, though. Justice? Sir? Don't you find her comment interesting? In more ways than one, sir? I'll have it out of her testimony myself. Well, does the defense want to witness the add to her testimony? Yes. Yes! I do think this deserves further scrutiny. Add it to the testimony. I wish I knew where I was going with this. Very well, witness! If you would be so kind. Your honor. One kind of chip is worth 100 points. The other kind is worth 1,000. 2 kinds in all. Sir Cobbin said that this testimony is important. If we knew which one was which, it would help. To be honest, I have no idea why. Mr. Justice? Just do the court a favor and think of what you want to say before raising your hand. We are not in kindergarten. Sorry, I'm fine. I better think of something to ask. And quick. The 2 types of chips. The small ones are 100 and the big ones are 1,000. Right? Right? Of course. Ha! Don't waste our time. Is that all? Yeah. Rin, this guy made me stop her. Now I'm the one who looks dumb. Oh, Justice. Please try not to embarrass me like that. Huh? Ooh, me? There's a clear contradiction in the information you have in your hands. What? It's a simple matter of calculation. Go on, try it. You're not in kindergarten after all. Calculation? Oh, of course. You're telling me that Mr. Wright, undefeated for 7 whole years, was losing? It must have been the most unlucky day for him. Okay. I was going to see if I can figure out which one's which, but I am glad I did not take other picture of him. It would break camera, certainly. Oh, I think I get it. So this thing, it's to figure out which one's which. Which? Oh. Okay, the chips, they went always to victim side of table. So you're telling us it was a one-sided game? One-sided and... Last hand. We'll still press all this stuff though. It was largest point of any hand. The defendant's hand, it was excellent. He tried to use it to take victory from behind. It appears that both the defendant and the victim's hands are in this picture. That is truly an excellent hand. However, so it's the victim's. One with the highest number wins, so the defendant loses. The victim, Mr. Smith, had a stronger hand than the defendant and crushed him. I believe that explains what occurs next. Once cards laid down on the table, it happened. And what happened next? Even to think of it now, I shake and tremble. I did not believe such thing would happen. What such thing? Please, you must believe. I had no idea. How could such thing happen? Okay, sorry. What's such thing? The defendant had been hitting victim. I saw it all happen right before me. I saw a bottle coming down on victim's head. Decisive, isn't it, Your Honor? My witness saw the very moment of the crime. Remember, your first goal is to gather information. Yes, sir. Contradiction, here comes justice. Well... let's try this.
Objection!
Oh hey, I forgot to say it. Oh well. You sure it was the victim who won? Absolutely sure. It seems our new attorney is a bit confused. A glance at the picture is enough to tell you who won. If you're not in kindergarten. Just for safety's sake, could you explain the problem to the court? Of course, Your Honor. In this photo, I see small chips and I see large chips. Tell me, which were worth 1,000 points? Why, the big ones, of course. Duh. Oh, I thought so too. But the total doesn't add up. The totals? Let's review what the witness told us. Each man starts with 3,500 points in chips. And the combined total value of the chips was 7,000 points. Yes. If my calculations are correct, let's see. 3 plus 1, carry the 5. They are, Your Honor, 9. Look at this photo that allegedly shows all the chips. If the big chips are worth 1,000 points and the small chips are worth 100, if you add them up, how much is it? Do it yourself. You aren't in kindergarten, are you? 10,600 points. The chips don't add up. This clearly contradicts the witness's testimony. But why? How could this be? Exactly, Justice. Now that you know the what, you must determine the why. Right. There's only one possible way to explain this contradiction. I think both are right. Each round begins with a game of 3,500 points. If the chips are indeed shown in this photograph, then there can only be one answer. Well, what is it? The value of the chips. Was the other way around. What? Want to know what I think? The small chips are worth 1,000 points, not the big ones. Madness! Utter madness! Show me that photograph of the chips again. There are 6 small chips and 10 large chips. Why? That does make 7,000 points when you add them up. Excellent work, Justice. It's almost as though you figured it out by yourself. Well, I'm just glad I was the one who said it. But wait! The value of the chips may be different, but that changes nothing. Indeed, the victim did have the larger number of chips still. Exactly. If the small chips are 1,000 points and the large chips are 100, let's do a little math. I have the points for each side of the table. The victim, Mr. Smith, had 2,900 points, and the victim had 4,100 points! Well, 9. It seems that Mr. Wright was winning that night after all. It's impossible! My clan had even less reason to kill the victim. After all, he was winning! Now, Mr. O'Reilly? Mr. O'Reilly? You must have known the true value of the chips. Since you were there at the scene of the crime. Weren't you? Order! Order! It appears the defendant has lost his motive. Mr. Wright's supposed defeat never happened. Yeah. We must now ask ourselves whether we can trust the witness. Hold it! Excuse me? What is it, Mr. O'Reilly? Can we trust the witness testimony yet? I did not want to say anything, but I did not want to be saying this, but actually, you see, they see what, Mr. O'Reilly? What did we see? In the last hand, there were cheats. A cheat? You don't mean a trick? Wait, or do you mean a scam? They're all the same thing. Yes, there was cheating last hand. That's why game end with chips as they are. Great, just great. First we have lying, now cheating? Well, this case certainly has taken a turn. Pretty interesting. Miss, you will please testify to the court. Tell us about this cheating in the final hand. The final hand. Last hand, both men have full house. There were 4 of each card in deck, from ace to king. If you look at both men's hand, the cheat is more obvious. The next moment, game become argument that the defendant's trick was exposed. He took bottle in hand for Mr. Smith. But Mr. O'Reilly? Why did you not tell the court about this from the very beginning? I thought I smell a cover up here. Well, folks, it's time to throw back the covers. A full house is a very high-scoring hand. Not easy to make, in my experience. That alone is enough to suspect less than scrumptious tactics. Mr. Gavin? What's a full house? Lawyers these days. You don't know your poker. I can't say this bodes well for your case. Or career. What is this? Some kind of secret court poker ring? I mean, I kind of love to see that. Justice. You know the terms 1 per, 2 per, and 3 of a kind, yes? Yeah, no problem. 2 cards with the same number make a pair, and 3 makes a 3 of a kind. Good. Now picture a hand with 1 pair and a 3 of a kind. That's a full house. That doesn't sound very easy to make, does it? You can see each player's hand in this photo. Wow, they both have full houses. We forget there's an easy way to make a full house and go undefeated for 7 years. You cheat. The defense may cross-examine the witness. If he did cheat in the last hand, that still leaves one important question. Mr. Wright lost that hand? Who ever heard a professional con man losing when they cheat? Oh, we haven't got the music yet. Okay. Just how hard it is to make a full house anyway. It is quite hard, though. It is making a pair and a 3 of a kind at the same time. I guess that's right. Very difficult to be sure. You can take my word as the poker head of corporate number 3. Very difficult, though. But it's not impossible. Okay, full house, hard. This line of questioning, a waste of time. Dwarf each card, you say? Ah, there is 1 spade, 1 diamond, 1 heart, and 1 club for each card. It is an interesting fact that this number 4 comes from number of seasons. Huh? You don't say. Ah, did you know that the cards are numbered 1 to 13? Add all the cards in a deck and you get 364 a year. Huh? You don't say. Isn't that 1 day short? That's why each deck has 2 jokers. They say that second joker stands for the leap year. Thus you have a perfect representation of the year, all in a deck of cards. Huh? You don't say. I'm going to be in this room for a year if it keeps going like this. How is it clear? Ah, well, the defendant played a 5th ace. A 5th ace? I still remember both hands very well. Mr. Smith's hands have 3 aces. And Mr. Wright's 2. Obviously, cheating was afoot! Or should I say, at hand. Your Honor, perhaps this can be added to the testimony without Mr. Payne's jokes. Very well. With this, we'll add this detail to our testimony, please. Mr. Smith's hand was 3 aces and Mr. Wright's 2. That's 5 aces in all. A 5th ace? It should not exist, no? I still remember both hands very well. Not seem. Mr. Hand has 3 uses. And Mr. Rice too.
Well, where did this card come from then?
Perhaps we should ask the defendant the following question. Adding cards to the deck is no less serious a taboo then. Not. Unfortunate evidence in a court of law. Here. Aye, perhaps it's time for you to say something, Justice. But I have no intention of staying quiet. Not me! No, sir! You better find some contradicting evidence fast.
Hold it!
Do you recall what the men were arguing about? Ah, I believe so. The victim, he shouts, "You are a cheater," and then the defendant shouts something like, "I have objection." Turning an objection, eh? Old habits are hard to break. First he bluffs his way through the courtroom, now he bluffs his way through life.
Objection!
However, Mr. Wright lost his hand. That seems to cast the shadow of doubt on Mr. Smith. Humiliation from losing even when cheating. That is what set fire to the defendant's heart.
So what did the flaming defendant do next?
Hold it!
By bottle, are you referring to this? Ah, the defendant used this bottle to oh. This behavior is an admission of cheating by the defendant.
But why use a grape bottle juice?
You'd be surprised at what can be used as a weapon. The juice is recommended drink at Boorish Bull Club, da. This year's vintage is remarkable for the hefty fever. Hefty enough to brain a grown man, apparently. First she says it was a serious competition. Now she says there was cheating. Justice, notice anything odd? Her testimony keeps changing. Now she said the defendant cheats. Cheated. Actually, yes, I have noticed that. Let's get the truth out of this cheating first, shall we? Right, leave it to me. You look at the hand. Something's up.
Objection!
It appears the witness is mistaken. Sorry, appears the witness is mistaken. Mistaken? But my name? Look, this piece of evidence clearly contradicts what you said in your testimony.
That's the photo of the chips, is it not?
Justice. Perhaps you ought to explain your point in a way the judge can comprehend. In other words, use your finger to point out your point.
Yes. Please point out the contradiction in this photo. Which particular point contradicts the witness' testimony?
Take that!
Miss O'Reilly, in your testimony, you made the following claim. Mr. Smith had 3 aces. But you can clearly see the victim only held 2 aces. Well, maybe the witness was simply confused. Perhaps it was the defendant's hand that held the 3rd ace in question.
Objection!
Take another look at the evidence. As you can see, the defendant also had 2 aces in his hand. Where's this 5th ace? I see cheating there, alright. And it's going on right here in this courtroom.
Two aces in each player's hand does make 4 aces total. Hardly proof of cheating.
Wait, please. It is true. I have seen it. The 5th ace. There was cheating. I swear to you. That's odd. She must be lying. Yet she's the most sincere I've seen her all day. You're right to trust your instincts. Mr. Gavin? Who knows what lies in store for us in the trial ahead? Your Honor, if I may, I have a suggestion.
What might that be, Mr. Gavin?
If you don't mind, Perhaps we might examine the actual cards.
The cards?
Mr. Pian? Yes? The player's hands that night were set aside as evidence, were they not? The defense would like to request that the cards be shown to the court.
Very well. The prosecution will submit this evidence. Which will you examine? The victim's cards or the defendant's cards?
If these cards don't prove cheating was going on, nothing will. Now, which of these hands is the most suspicious? See? Let's try the victim's hands first. It was the victim's hand that changed over the court. The witness. Oh crap! Nope. Defense requests time to examine Mr. Smith's cards.
Very well. Mr. Payne, if you would.
Very well. Resistance. 9 times to wasting. Get to it, Justice. Oh ho! Only one of these cards has a blue back. I'm much more of a red guy myself. Blue is so not red, you know. That's the king. Yes, sir. Oh, we have to do it. Next time we have evidence, be sure to view it from all sides and angles. Try using the right stick to turn every way and triangle and square to zoom in and out. That should give you a better perspective on this case. Okay, let's do this. What? Your Honor, look at this! One of the victim's cards! The back is different! It's a different color! Eh? Yeah! That's impossible! Did I put that card in right side? Eh! There was cheating! But Wright was not the cheater! What was that, Mr. O'Reilly? No, I merely said, Your Honor?
Mr. Common, yes?
Tell me, which is the easiest way to cheat a poker? Sorry, what is the easiest way to cheat a poker?
To cheat?
I'll tell you. One needs a friend. A comrade, shall we say. The dealer.
Oh!
Wait, so you mean this witness, Miss Ori, she's the cheater. A professional, I wager.
Yeah! Order, order!
Focus, Justice. Time to take advantage of her. Of her mistake. Your Honor, please recall the testimony we just heard. That's impossible. But I put that card in Wright's hand. Ergo, Miss Olga O'Reilly conspired to cheat, not with my client, but with the victim, Mr. Shani Smith.
Oh!
Not only did she cheat, she cheated poorly. Therefore, it's not hard to imagine an altercation between her and the victim. Ah!
Wait, you don't mean the defense isn't accusing the witness? Mr. Olga O'Reilly, are you?
Time for justice. There were 3 people in the room at the time of the incident. And Mr. Wright isn't guilty. That means I am. The defense accuses the witness, Mr. Olga O'Reilly, of murder. Ah! Nice landing.
Mr. Payne, where is your witness, Mr. Olga O'Reilly?
It appears she has lost, consciousness, Your Honor.
Mr. Justice?
Your Honor?
It seems you presented a new possibility to the court. One suggestion, a connection between the witness and the victim, Mr. Smith.
And that means
This court cannot pronounce a verdict for the defendant at this time.
What?
I did it! I held out! I see no point in prolonging the trial of this day. The prosecution will need to make further inquiries.
Objection!
Right. They're using the new voice actor. Mr. Wright? You can't end this trial here, Your Honor. Not yet. What nonsense is the defendant spewing now? Think. One of the cards had a different color back. Don't you wonder what it means? What are you doing, Mr. Wright? Raising objections right when you're about to get off the hook? Ridiculous!
Mr. Payne, all people should know, Mr. Wright has a talent for the ridiculous.
The judge is not wrong.
Perhaps we should get to the bottom of things. Let's clear up the facts about the game in that fateful night.
As was said before, we alternated between two decks of cards that night. That was said before. The two decks at the club have different color backs, blue and red. One color per deck. Why use different color backs? If we use the same color, two decks might get mixed. You use different colors and they still got mixed up? We used the red deck for the last game.
I see, but that's on. For some reason, I have this impression that you were using the blue cards.
Yeah, me too. I'm sure someone said something about blue cards. Whatever. In the end, one card of the wrong color got into the mix. Which means there was cheating. Yes, a card slipped into the deck would seem to indicate cheating. Yet, this card raises two serious questions. Apollo? Yes? Let's consider the first question, shall we? Think. In the last game, when was the card swapped? When? There were three raw possibilities here. It could have been swapped before the murder, during the murder, or after the murder. Well, yeah, thanks to the newspaper, Mr. Wright. Of course, it was swapped. Oh. It might be as simple as you think, Mr. Payne. Or it might not. Yeah. I'd like to hear what Apollo thinks first. When do you think the cards were swapped? When was the card swapped into the deck? I'm gonna save. And I'm gonna say during the murder. Well, weren't they swapped during the murder?
During the murder? Tell me exactly what was that?
Huh? Well, the very moment of the act, I guess. Would that be the moment the cards were shown? Or perhaps the moment when the cheeser was revealed?
Or maybe the very moment the ball came down on Mr. Smith's head?
You have a moment.
That moment could cost you this case!
Sorry, let me rethink this. When was the card swapped in? Perhaps it was after the murder. What's that? Ridiculous. What's the point of cheating after the hands have been shown? That's silly.
Objection!
Yes, but tell me, how do you swap cards during the game? I'll take silly over impossible. Take it from me, son. There's a lot of silly in this world, but very little impossible. Oh, even when the back of the cards are a different color? If you pull that during the game, you'd be caught in no time. Oh, quite true. That would mean that the blue card in question was swapped after the hands were shown, after the murder. Okay, this is going past silly and straight to on the crazy. I'll ask again, what is the point of cheating after the game's over? Who would do that? Who indeed? That's one of the mysteries before us.
There's another?
Yes, a simple yet decisive question must be asked. Who swapped the red card for a blue card?
Who?
The game, the murder, is done. The victim is dead. Only 2 remain in the room, alive that is. The defendant, Phoenix Wright, and our witness, Olga O'Reilly. Okay, so who was it that swapped the red card for the blue? I'm gonna say someone else. The one who swapped the card wasn't Mr. Wright, of course. And, well, it doesn't seem like it could have been Olga O'Reilly either.
What are you suggesting?
That's hardly a logical conclusion, I'll admit. As a defense, I think it'll only make sense for you to name Mr. O'Reilly at this point. Yes, I know. But she was one who dealt the cards, right? I just can't believe she would make the mistake of swapping the wrong color cards.
If the cards were swapped during the game, it'd be obvious. Something you'd like to share with the court, Mr. Wright?
Oh, my apologies, Your Honor. I was just thinking how much fun all this is.
Fun?
How about confusing? I have no idea what the defense is claiming, Your Honor. If one of the cards swapped wasn't the defendant's, and it wasn't Mr. O'Reilly, then who was it? Yeah, well, that is the question, isn't it? Precisely. Huh? I believe we're about to see this case take a new direction.
A new direction?
We'll find that, indeed, after the murder, someone swapped one of the cards in the victim's hand. And that someone made 2 critical mistakes. I'm sure you're going to tell us the first was swapping the wrong color card. Because the one who did swap didn't know 2 color cards were being used. The other mistake was the number of the card. Right. The person replaced the 5th ace with a king. I'm sure whoever swapped it wasn't expecting there to be a 5th ace after all. All they knew was that the game had been won with a full house. So they picked up a king from the table and swapped it in. But there was one problem. According to our case report, this person doesn't exist. True, not until now. But you have to admit the possibility of a 4th person. Although it's more than a possibility. There was someone else there at that night at the scene of the crime. I believe the judge spoke truthfully earlier. You do make trials ridiculous, Mr. Wright.
This trial is proceeded on one central assumption. Namely, there at the time of the incident, there were only 3 people in that room.
I believe this new evidence, shall we say, overturns that assumption.
The problem is that you chose to conceal this information from the court.
I suppose that is a problem, yes.
Court is adjourned for a brief recess. Mr. Garvin, I'll see you in my chambers this recess.
Certainly, Your Honor.
Very well, this trial will resume in 20 minutes.
April 20th, 11:52 a.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby number 3. That was quite unexpected, Mr. Wright. The Sonny claimed there was another person at the scene of the crime like that. I must ask, is it the truth? Well, now, I think you would know the answer to that. Ah, being mysterious, are we? Sadly, I've no time for mysteries. I only ask that you lead the defending into your defense in the future. Otherwise, I cannot guarantee the outcome. I see you haven't mellowed out one bit, Christoph. Justice? Yes, sir? The judge has summoned me to his chambers, so carry on without me. You did well, Apollo. Can I ask you something? Sure. That locket you were... Is that really yours, Mr. Wright? Ah, you're wondering about the victim's disappearing locket. Here, you can take a look at it. That's a picture of my daughter in there. I'm just surprised to hear you had a daughter. Most people are. Perhaps you'll meet her one of these days. One more question. The one who cheated that night, was it you? What do you think? Huh? You know what happened 7 years ago. What I did. It's not unreasonable for you to think I might cheat. I never! Honest! But it is odd that he managed to go undefeated for 7 whole years. Wanna know something? There's only one game where you can be dealt bad cards all night and still win. Poker. Eh? You see, poker is all about reading your opponent. In that way, it's not like a court case. Poker is like trial law. Figure out what your opponent is thinking, and you'll win. And so you win. Well, yeah, but that's harder than it sounds. I think not. Try as they might to conceal it. Everyone reveals their true thoughts in the end. Their body language can become a viable source of information. You're kidding! That witness, for instance, Mr. O'Reilly. She would touch the back of her neck during certain parts of her testimony. Oh, they're not nigh. I know what he's hinting at, and I don't want to explain it just yet. Did you notice? No. Come on. You noticed that? Words, habits, twitches. It's all information for the reading. That's the secret of winning, Apollo. Someone taught me. And I passed the secret on to you. But I'm not worthy. I mean, there's no way I'll pick up on these signals. No, you can do it. Huh? You just don't know it yet. What's he talking about? But you will. Soon. Ah, almost forgot. One more thing. About this kiss. You should know, I haven't told the truth to anyone yet. What? I knew it. I have my reasons. Of course. All shall be revealed. Apollo, I need you to be there, defending me. I need your power. Power? I had no idea my Chords of Steel were that special. It's time. The real trial begins now. Do your best. Oh. The trial resumes. Yes, we will proceed to the next. Glad I gave that option. April 20th, 12:14 p.m. District Court, Court number 2.
Court but now reconvene. How's our witness, Miss Olga O'Reilly, recovered?
Yes, Your Honor. Well, she regained consciousness. Perhaps we can hear her version of the events again. But that's the thing! You see, she's quite fatigued.
You're looking a bit fatigued yourself, Mr. Payne.
Sadly, fatigue is insufficient grounds for refusing to testify. Or prosecute. The defense would like to request that Miss O'Reilly really take the stand.
Very well, the witness will take the stand.
Perhaps you could repeat your name and occupation. Or perhaps you'd rather admit that you're a poor liar. and a poorer loser. No. Name's Ogle O'Reilly. That's the truth. I'm a pro dealer. Oh, by the way, there's your answer about the Borscht. There is your answer about the Borscht. Not pulling the Borscht anymore. People call me Olga Quick Finger or... Really? Oh! Oh, really? Want to know something else? I'm not any Russian. And my last name really sounds like oh really. Therefore, that's the truth. I hope you're satisfied. With this, you will tell the court what you're really up to that night. Fine, I'll talk. We have a plan, see?
Let me remind you that you are currently under oath. Any further fabrications will have serious consequences.
Fine. Like I said, I'm a pro, not Guy Smith. Hired me to do what I do best. I was planted at the Borscht Bowl Club several days prior to the night of the game. As a waitress. So you were in cahoots with the victim? Not that he needed my help. Smith is a well-known poker player in some circles, sorry. But winning wasn't the main purpose of this game. It was about destroying the legend, the unbeatable Phoenix Wright. The plan was simple, elegant, really, you see. We set up a trap of sorts. I was to plant the card in Wright's pocket beforehand, sorry. And then deal 5 aces during one of their games. When both fans were revealed, Smith would call him out and search Wright. He would then pull out the planted card and the trap would snap shut. You swapped the cards! Exposed as a cheater and losing on top of it. It would have made a great double play. Just like that, the legend would be dashed to pieces.
Indeed. Getting called red-handed at cheating would cast doubt on all his prior wins.
A 7-year legend destroyed by one little card. That was the plan. Oh really? Oh really? Hide roll. But it appears you've made quite the mistake.
A mistake?
I agree. The trap was elegant. Yet, what happened to the planted card? Hey, that's right. He's lucky. I'll give him that. You have to beat to slip free from a trap led by Olga Quick Fingers O'Reilly.
Oh really? With this would be much cuter if she dispensed with the evil mastermind stick.
Cute? Who wants to be cute? I'm not cute. I'm bad. You hear me? Bad.
Sorry. When you're through being bad, perhaps you could testify to the court. Tell us about this trap and how it was sprung.
The best laid traps. That night, I planted the card like I was supposed to. Wright lost the last hand, just like he was supposed to. Then Smith searched him. But the planted card was gone. The trap failed. Next moment, Wright picked up the ball and swung it. It wasn't me who hit Smith. It was a no-good cheating defendant.
A surprisingly frank testimony that still leaves us mostly in the dark.
The trap was perfect, I tell you. Perfect! If that rotten cheater hadn't messed it up. Look who's talking!
Well, the testimony, for what it's worth, is all yours, Mr. Justice.
With witnesses like her, who needs criminals? And with defendants like Mr. Wright, he needs prosecutors. Alright.
Hold it!
This upon the card. Which card was it exactly? The trump card, the Five of Hearts. Let me guess. Mr. Wright was to have switched the Five of with the Ace to make a full house.
At least that's what you were going to accuse him of doing, thereby ruining his legend.
I slid it into Wright's pocket. When was this?
Why? Before the
Match, of course. While he was eating. At the Borscht Bull Club, we serve borscht and suckers.
remind me never to go there.
Of course, the cards were to me its grand debut during the game. Like a good borscht, a good plot must be cooked up early and allowed to thicken.
Hold it!
So everything went according to plan? Exactly. The fifth ace came up, and so it's obvious is a switch went over the hitch. Once the actual card was found in his pocket, Wright would be forever known as a cheat and a fraud.
There are worse things to be known, as I suppose.
Tell us what happened with the search.
Hold it!
The card disappeared? Yeah, my trump card, the Five of Hearts. Gone, without a trace. Poof! Sippo. We searched every nook and cranny. Even inside his cute little hut. But the card was nowhere to be found? Is this correct? Never in my long, storied career, never has Quickfinger O'Reilly been so readily dumped. Oops, sorry. Oh, really? So, what did happen to the Five of Hearts? Well, look at me. Why don't you ask that cheating, lying, two-faced defendant? If the Five of Hearts is still missing in action?
Hold it!
Wait, isn't that a little odd? What's odd? You searched Mr. Wright, thoroughly and found nothing? Which means he didn't cheat. Which means he had no reason to strike the victim. Well... What was that just now? I sense him. Oh, it's just triggered. Looks like we'll need to perceive that statement a little bit more.
Something wrong, Mr. Justice?
No, nothing, Your Honor. What to do? Can I press her a little harder? So really, you're hiding something. What are you talking about? You. Oh, start. I was censoring her there. But me? Quickfinger's already hide something? Objection. The defense will refrain from baseless accusation. I have one question for the witness stand. You say you saw the moment the defendant hit the victim. Is that true? Of course it's true. Apollo's gift, I guess I'll call that. His power. I did it! Honest!
I saw it when I hit him with my own eyes. I saw him. What's this weird vibe I'm getting? Not witness, for instance. Miss O'Reilly. She would touch the back of her neck during certain parts of her testimony. Did you notice? Touching her neck, was it? Oh! What's going on? The sensation! It's coming into focus! There! That twitch! It's so clear! It's like I could perceive her bit like I could before. Gotcha!
Gotcha!
Miss O'Reilly, perhaps you're unaware of this yourself. Unaware of what? Whenever you get to a certain part of your testimony, you touch the back of your neck with your left hand. My neck? So what? What indeed, Justice. I hadn't noticed anything of the sort. When she says that part in her testimony, she subconsciously recalling something. Her body reacts to a memory and she touches her neck. I'm sure of it. A memory? Would someone care to explain what he's babbling about? This is highly unusual, but let's ask the defense. You claim the witness is remembering something? Maybe you have evidence of this memory to show us? Her habit of scratching her neck whenever she talks about the moment of the crime. So, what would remind her of the moment of the crime? So really, whenever you call the night a crime, you scratch your neck. I noticed it happened when you think about the moment of the crime. There must be some reason behind this habit of yours. I believe the weapon in the left and ear. Yeah, I remember I believe the weapon in that left and irreversible impression on your neck is this. Whenever she talks about the moment of the crime, she touches her neck. What reminds us more of that moment is than this battle, the murder weapon. But something doesn't fit. If you were only the witness to the crime, why would that make you touch your neck like you're in pain? What's he talking about? It was Mr. Smith, the victim who was hit. Not you. This is cross-examination, not a cross-wild conjecture. The witness's habits are completely irrelevant. Justice, I'll admit, I'm a bit confused myself. This is certainly a unique cross-examination. I'll explain later. Just trust me. Now's your chance to break her. Miss O'Reilly, please testify in detail about the moment of the crime. The very moment. I am knowing nothing. We know you're not Russian. The witness will testify. Please, now. Ah, fine. Oh, there we go. He's the one who did it. I didn't let him out of my sights until the cops got here.
Hold it!
You seem uneasy. Oh, we finally have the Elgato version of the cross-examination music in this. You try standing up here. Her eyes are darting all over the place. I he must be getting warm. Tell me, after the crime, what was the defendant like? Well, he must have been stunned by the weight of his crime. He sat in a daze at that table until the cops came. Intriguing. I believe you've gotten all the testimony you're going to get out of this witness. So, what do you think about her testimony? I'll tell you what I think. Her testimony is... well, it's basically bogus and contradicts the evidence. I forgot to say it. I'm gonna bring at least throw safe here. I don't know. We just move. I can skip first mostly. Well, what's that? Well, show us this evidence, Mr. Justice. This evidence that you claim contradicts the testimony. You didn't let him out of his sight until the cops got here, sir. I know there are some evidence that contradicts that. Oh, Mr. O'Reilly, we have a record here. Hmm? Okay, I'm sorry. We have a record here that clearly contradicts what you're saying. It states that the police were alerted by a report from the defendant. Yeah. I mean, you know that the defendant left the room, climbed the stairs, and made that phone call from the first floor of the Boris Bowl Club. So, explain how you kept your eyes on the defendant when he left the room entirely? Ah! The man who picked up a bottle and swung it that night wasn't the defendant? Showdown time. Showdown time. You dirty cheat! Check its pockets! No! It's gone! The card's gone! You lose. Just then, Smith brought the ball from next to right, and he hit me! You... some master cheating you turned out to be! When I came to, the victim was already dead. Is that it? That's why I couldn't reveal who I really was. If it came out that I was in leagues with Smith, I'd be a suspect for sure. Well, what does this leave us? Madness! This is madness! I'm dreaming! It must have been me who was hit with the ball. No, and I'm embarrassing all of this! It appears our prosecution is at its wit's end. And frankly, I can't blame him. Mr. Gavin, what do you think about this turn of offense? Mr. Gavin, sir? I believe that, as the defense in this case, we are compelled to call Mr. O'Reilly a big, fat liar. What? Three were in that room the night of the murder. The defendant, victim, and her. And she has a motive. A motive? Her plot foiled. Oh, the witness got into an argument with her client, Mr. Smith. And the denunciation of that argument was murder. What? I'm no killer. It's a trap. Someone's trying to frame me. What tangle webs we weave when we practice to deceive. So tangled, we catch ourselves in the process. Mr. Wright! Such a hasty conclusion. It's not like you, Christoph Gavin. What are you saying? Why not consider the other possibility? That there was another person in the room at the time of the murder? Right, like Mr. Rank was saying before recess. A single card was swapped into the victim's hand after the murder. And the one who swapped the cards didn't know two colors of cards were being used. A fourth person. Ha! It's fair again. Your fourth person doesn't exist. Indeed. That's why I decided to bring this case to court. Here, where there's no escape and no chance for deception. The perfect place to catch the real criminal. The real criminal? Oh yeah, Phoenix Wright may not be a defense, sorry. He's calculating as hell. And we're in luck. A clue to the real criminal's identity was kindly provided for us. Right at the beginning of the trial, no less. What? Apollo, perhaps you know what I'm talking about? Oh! There's a door. Sorry? Remember what I said? The fourth person who swapped the cards made one critical error. He or she wasn't considering the color on the back of the cards. Right. But how could such an obvious mistake occur? The cards used for the last game were red. Yet, there is one person here in our court who thought those cards were blue. Yeah, I had that impression too. But why? Well, Apollo, think you can figure out who it was? It's not me, I swear! Who is this fourth person? Why do I always get put on the spot like this? Let's hear what the defense has to say. Who was it? Who thought the cards used in the game were blue? Only one person. Christoph Gavin. As I expected. Your eyes and ears are sharp as your hair. I was right? Christoph Gavin, you were the fourth person that night. But, of course Mr. Gavin would know the color of the cards. How would he? As you can see, the photo in the crime scene is black and white. You can't tell which of the cards are blue, the ones on the floor, or the table. But look! You can see the color, the colors in this photo. Yes. But when he said the cards were blue, it was well before this evidence came into light. It's true that the defendant was engaged in a game of poker with the victim. Yet, it was only a game. Yet it was only that. A game, in the pure sense. A competition, Your Honor. A competition? Yes, a test of wits, a silent clash of passion. Only the cards, their back wreathed in blue flames, note of its final outcome. Well, Christoph? Mr. Gavin? Mr. Gavin! Is something the matter? No, nothing. Excuse me, it was just so sudden. Right? You aren't seriously accusing me, are you? Oh, Christoph. You know, even I never take a joke this far. That is true. This is going beyond ridiculous, beyond dumb. This is insanity. The defendant accusing his own defense attorney of murder? I assure you, I'm quite sane. But what possible connection could Mr. Gavin have to the victim? I wasn't aware that I had a connection to Mr. Smith either. Yes, but Mr. Gavin and the victim have never even met. Well, what if they have? Huh? There is a possibility after all. They may have met that night before the game started. What are you suggesting? So this is the truth Mr. Wright was staying silent about. Well, only one thing to do. Mr. Wright, the defense would like to request that you testify to the court. The defense would like to request no such thing. Mr. Gavin? Testimonies must relate to the case. How could anything happen before the game of poker or be related? That game of poker be related? I'm not sure I follow, Mr. Gavin. As I explained before, the defense believes that Miss O'Reilly. I might assume you speak for Mr. Justice in this? He is the defense, not you. Mr. Justice, the matter of Mr. Wright's testimony is up to you. Oh, okay. This court, in your opinion, need to hear Mr. Wright's testimony? Could be. This is Mr. Wright's strategy? He was planning this all along? Okay, and I tend to see it through. Alright. As a quote. The defense would like to request that Mr. Wright testify to the court. To Justice, you would betray me, your teacher. I'm sorry, Mr. Gavin. This isn't about loyalty. This is about the truth. Very well, the defendant, Mr. Wright, will take to the stand, please. For appetite before murder. That evening, Christopher and I had dinner. We sat at the table in this photograph. Johnny Smith walked in 5 minutes after Christoph left. When the trap failed, Smith hit the waitress. The girl was knocked out cold, and Smith was uncontrollable. I left to call the police. When I returned, he was dead. Blood streamed from a cut on his forehead. That's when I made another phone call to defense attorney Gavin. Mr. Gavin! You were at the Borscht Bowl Club at the night of the murder? I dine with him rather frequently. And he talked to the defendant on the phone directly after the murder? Quite against my will, I have become involved in a murder. I thought I might be in need of a lawyer, so I called him. You were planning this all along, weren't you, Wright? Just because you wanted to drag me into your little murder trial. The only thing I want is the truth. As I did back then, and now. I thought my office was doing you a favor when we took on your defense. It appears that I was wrong. Very well. The defense may cross-examine the witness. Justice. Sir? He's lying, and you're going to expose him. Understood, sir. Mr. Gavin versus Mr. Wright. This can't end well. Why can't I have a normal trial? Right. A normal trial. In a Phoenix Wright game. Okay. You had dinner with Mr. Gavin? Yes, he dines with me at the Borscht Bowl Club quite frequently. We were enjoying a usual dinner at a usual spot. As usual. Usual? I always eat at the table closest to the piano. I see. Where Mr. Smith was sitting. So the plates and such on the table were from your dinner? Indeed. The remnants of my meal with Christoph. We dined for 2 hours. And Christoph left. After gone.
5 minutes? So the two of them could have passed in the restaurant during that time. That would have been a faithful encounter, to be sure. Oh, Mr. Wright. What was it you said? Christoph, Gavin, and Shelley Smith might have met? I believe I did say that. Here I was, all numbers about this meeting. And now we heard they just passed in the hall? That does seem a little weak as a pretense for murder. Or it would be, if that were all that really happened. Come on, Mr. Wright. What are you hiding this time?
Hold it!
About this field trap. This is the same trap that Miss Olga O'Reilly mentioned. The plan was simple, elegant really. You see, we set up a trap of sorts. I was to plant a card in Mr. Wright's pocket beforehand. And then deal 5 aces during one of their games. When their hands are revealed, Smith would call him out and search Wright. And he would pull out the planted card and the trap would snap shut. You swapped the cards! Just like that, the legend would be dashed to pieces. Yes, a harmless prank in essence. It was by a quirk of fate that I happened to discover it. A quirk? I happened to put my hand in my pocket and found a card. The card she planted. Yes, I snuck a peek at it and found it was the 5 of hearts. I have a feeling something might happen, so I disposed of that card before the game. Dispose? Where? There was an empty bottle of grape juice I had been drinking right beside me. I threw the card inside the bottle. An empty bottle of grape juice? The murder weapon! Yes, I rolled it up and shoved it in there. The color glass makes it hard to see. A battle of wits between the deceiver and the would-be deceived. That sounds like terrific drama. A card inside the murder weapon. That's strange. Did the police miss it in their investigation? Maybe I'll take a look. Is it right? The poker head of culprit number 3 approves of this battle of wits. Please provide your testimony with this new information. I discovered the trap during the game and disposed of the card in the bottle. It's not here. Alright. Why in the bottle? Okay, I perceived my opponent's intent immediately. Oh, I'm used to entrapment. You see, I knew what was coming. Oh, so you struck first. I like that. I know every trick in the book. They don't work on me. At least when you get lucky and stick your hand in your pockets, they don't.
Hold it!
Let me reassign the bottle. Oh, it's completely empty. Oh, yeah, it's empty. You made a call to the police from the first floor of the restaurant, correct? Exactly. Cell phones don't get a signal down the hideout. Was anyone else on the first floor at that time? Not a soul.
It was the middle of the night after all. So there, in the darkened restaurant, I called the cops. After making the call, I returned to the hideout. It didn't seem right to leave the injured waitress alone.
Hold it!
And when you returned, the victim was already dead. Yes. I'll admit, I was a little startled when I walked in. Little? He was bleeding from his forehead after all. I guess I'd be startled too if I walked in on a scene like that.
Hold it!
Could you explain why you called Mr. Gavin? I've obviously gotten involved in a rather sticky affair. I figured Christoph's law office would give me a friend's rate for my defense fees. Glad to hear you intend to pay. Oh, I'll pay in full, Christoph. It was I who got you involved after all. You may find the price of your defense quite high, my good friend. Quite high. Is this the truth that Mr. Wright was talking about? Justice, what would you have to do? He's lying. Expose him. Aye. Yes, sir. I have to think. What's Mr. Wright trying to tell me with this testimony? The truth has to be in there somewhere. Let's save and try.
Objection!
Yay! Mr. Wright, if I may? Yes. I've examined the bottle and I don't see any card in there. No. What, Mr. Wright? Surely isn't the all you have to save yourself? I can't say how I knew that what happened to the card. I did put it in that bottle, however. Huh? Perhaps a fifth person came and took it out? Oh, and a sixth person could have helped? Mr. Gavin, Mr. Wright is your client! My apologies, Your Honor. I wouldn't have you disparaging our investigation either. We looked inside that bottle. There was nothing. What's going on? Is Mr. Wright making us again? Did the car just disappear? In any case, please continue the cross-examination. I'm afraid decisive contradictions call for decisive evidence. Oh! Push him harder, Justice. Break him. It's just you and the witness in the ring. Go for the KO. Why do I get the feeling we're not on our client's side anymore? That evening. Oh, right. That's just a reset. Actually, yeah, I just thought about that. Why? How did he know? Crane's photo, no evidence. Huh. Mr. Wright, if I may. Yes. Take a look at this photograph of the crime scene. See the victim there? He's wearing a hat. I wouldn't think you could see blood on his forehead. Good point. Justice. Next time you put an inconsistency, put a little more oomph to it. Mr. Wright, can you explain this to the court? I forgot to mention something. I was wondering who put the hat on his head. Eh? You put the hat on the dead man's head? He wore it for our entire poker game. After calling the police when I returned to the scene, his head was in full view, shining bright, just like in this photograph. And I picked his hat up off the floor and put it on his head. Why did you do a thing like that? All I can say is, I'm sorry, but that's the only thing I touched at the crime scene. So, Mr. really didn't see it? If it being the victim's, his head? I think not. It was so cold. I believe I was the only one who witnessed his head. Ah, here we go again. Mr. Goblin? Pardon? It seems that our client is determined to lie his way through this kiss. Hey, he's still our client, isn't he? I believe that's enough of that. Mr. Goblin? This witness's testimony is more of a travesty. It's filled with lies. I'm beginning to see how you came to lose your attorney spot 7 years ago. Well, you certainly have a unique way of treating your clients, Christoph. I never knew. I believe it was you who threw the first stone. Mr. Wright, if you intend to ever tell the truth about this kiss, it's now or never. Don't be misled. I haven't told a single lie here. Eh? When I noticed the trap, I did put the car in the bottle to dispose of it. And when I put the hat on the victim's head, let's just say I had a reason for doing that as well. Reason? That reason is right here. Your cell phone? That night, recall that I spoke with defense attorney Gavin. Then after calling the police, just in case, I recorded our conversation. What's this? Now that we're all here, I see no reason why I shouldn't play it back for the court. Christoph, I seem to be in a bit of trouble. What's this? Game not going well? Something like that. That gentleman who challenged you, he turned out to be good. He turned out to be dead. Someone hit him. Hard. You mean someone cracked that flawless bone china plate? It wasn't you, was it? Me? Please. The cops should be here any minute. I'm in your hands. Should have come to that. Bone china plate? A kind of proclaiming. Very smooth and shiny. Not plate, but pit. I believe he was referring to a certain gentleman's balding forehead. The court appreciates the defendant's discretion in not indicating my forehead. Wait a second. Something's not right about that phone call. So, after Mr. Goblin ate his dinner review, he left the Boorish Bull Club. Most certainly. Then how did he know? When did he see this bone china plate? Oh, that's right! Yes. That was when I began to see my good friend in a different light. Troubled, I returned to the crime scene. And when I spotted Mr. Smith's head again, I realized exactly what was wrong. Well, Mr. Gavin, the stage has been set. Perhaps you would like to explain this to the court. Exactly how did you come by your privileged knowledge of the victim's head? So, this is your reason. The reason why you put the victim's hat back on. Your point, Mr. Gavin? It comes down to this, has it? Phoenix Wright. Order! I will have order! Mr. Payne! Yes, Your Honor? I believe this court has been left with no other choice. Are you prepared to hear defense attorney Gavin's testimony? Well, as the prosecutor, Very well. We'll break for 10 minutes. After which Mr. Gavin will take the in for cross-examination. Are we all clear on that? Crystal clear, Your Honor. Very well. This will be the final recess for the day. April 20th, 2:32 p.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby number 3. Mr. Gavin and Mr. Wright are both in the judge's chamber. I would have thought today would turn out like this. May I? Huh? What? Hello, sir. Please pick a card. What's all this about? Is this one okay? Excellent. I have a message for you. The last hand is about to be played. You'll need a trump card to make it. A trump card? The card you have chosen is magical. Use it wisely, and the game is yours. That's all. An ace? Where do I remember that card from? Mr. Smith's hand had 3 aces, and Mr. Wright's 2. It is 5 aces in all. It is true. I had seen it. The 5th ace. There was cheating. I swear to you. Missing 5th ace. Wait. A blotch of red. Is this blood? Yeah, literally just pointed at that. You have your trump card. Now it's up to you to cut the deck and draw. The truth. My father's fate is in your hands. I know you can do it. Goodbye. This bloodstained card is my trump card for finding the truth? I fell deep in the thought as my mind raced to understand what this all meant. That girl. I've seen her recently. But where? That's when I made the connection. Bloody ace added to the court records. Received from a mysterious girl. Could this be the missing 5th ace? April 20th, about 2:45 p.m. District Court, courtroom number 2. Let's just summon this court. A single drop of blood marks the front of the card. That's all we get. Oh, I forgot. Olga O'Reilly, age 21, a professional swindler hired by the victim to destroy Phoenix Wright's reputation. Later, that's all we have.
Corporal, now reconvene. Defense Attorney Christoph Gavin, will you please take the stand? Now then, if you would, Mr. Payne.
Yes, Your Honor. Well, Mr. The witness state his name and occupation?
Is this farce necessary, Your Honor? Believe me, far stranger things have gone on in this courtroom.
I mean, this is the judge who has seen who has seen people flying, or at least the artist has depicted such thing. Whips, blackouts, weaponized coffee.
Fine,
I'll play along.
First, there is one thing we need to have made clear. How did you know about the secret beneath the victim's head?
By secret? I guess you mean the fact that Mr. Smith was bald. Forgive my curiosity, but what is it about this fellow's head? Your Honor seems to have an inordinate interest in it.
Objection!
I wouldn't call it inordinate, Mr. Gavin. I think this is the only time we get to hear this song. Mr. Wright? What do you think you're doing right? Wow, things sure look different from the other side. You know what I mean, Apollo? Speaking of looking from the other side, let's consider something for a second. The victim wore that hat all night. Never once taking... Do we question what he does half the time? The victim wore that hat all night. Never once taking it off, except for that one time. One time, being the instant he was hit. Oh! When Mr. Wright returned from reporting the crime, the hat was lying on the floor.
Also, I guess he just... Mr. Right picked it up and placed it on the victim's head. In other words, in order to have seen Mr. Smith's bald head, you would have had to have been there in the hideout at the time of the crime. In other words, I must be the real killer. Is that what you're trying to say? Not bad, Apollo.
Mr. Gavin!
I'm afraid that I haven't been entirely honest with the court. What? Oh, I assure you, I have the noblest of intentions. I did it all to protect my client, Mr. Wright. Yet, I'm afraid in this current situation, I see little reason to hide anything. Very well, allow me to tell you the truth of what happened that night.
Finally! You may begin your testimony. Tell us, how were you involved in the events of that fateful night?
A fateful night. The rage I sensed in that man that night troubled me, so I returned to the club. I went down to the basement and peeked in through the little window to the hideout. It must have been right after the murder took place. The victim was dead, as he appeared in the photo. A bald-head, unconscious girl, and Wright holding a ball in his hand. I sensed that it was not the best place for me to be at the time, so I left. That was when the call came in from Wright. So, you witnessed the murder? For better or worse, I've missed the actual moment of the deed.
Okay, Mr. Gavin, may I remind you that you are on Mr. Wright's defense team? Your testimony is clearly disadvantage to your client.
What else could I say? I'm standing on the witness stand, after all. So you are, Mr. Gavin. And you have to testify as you just did. You have to tell him you saw the scene of the crime through that little window. Mr. Wright? You have to say that. You had to say that. Because that was the only probable window of opportunity. Right, Apollo?
Oh! Mr. Wright, the defense should do the cross-examination, not the defendant. Mr. Justice, are you prepared?
I guess old hobbits die hard, eh?
Yes, Your Honor.
I can't believe I'm going up against Mr. Galvin. This trial is getting weirder and weirder. Welcome to the trial of Phoenix Wright. Where shit gets weird by the minute. The final cross-examination, it actually tells you. Not man. You mean Mr. Smith? He was different from the other customers. His aura, shall we say. I knew he was a serious poker player. But it was more than that. So then, you knew the true nature of your client's job? Of course. But I also knew he was engaged in gambling, which would be illegal. Well, it makes sense that he knew. They were friends after all. Worried for my friend, I returned to the club. You see, I feared this Mr. Smith might be someone coming to settle an old score.
I see. What happened then?
The little window. You mean the one used to keep watch up the stairs? Yes, a relic of the ancient past. The black market here used it, I believe. Why did you go through the trouble of peeking in through the window? Wouldn't it have been easier to just open the door and go into the room? I didn't want to upset Wright, you see. Upset, Mr. Right? Yes. One of my fears have been unfounded. I'd be walking in on their match. Bad form, to say the least.
So far, everything you say makes sense.
Hold it!
How do you know what's right after the murder? Sorry. How do you know it was right after the murder? Really? No need to cite justice. I was just getting to that part of my testimony. Ah, there he is. Coolest defense in the West. We know and love. Even when you're standing up there on the witness stand, some things never change. I was afraid you changed too, right? But you haven't. You and that overbearing personality of yours. With friends like these, who needs enemies?
Hold it!
That by photo, you mean the second photograph of the crime scene? Precisely, you see. He wasn't wearing his hat then. I saw his head when he was dead. And then Mr. Wright came along and replaced his hat. Can you describe the scene of the crime for us? Well, alright.
Hold it!
Those were the only three at the scene of the crime. Yes, as far as I saw at least. Then we're back where we started. The killer was the defendant. Phoenix Wright. Who else could it have been? But why didn't you talk to the police? 2 reasons. First, I didn't actually witness the very moment of the crime. Second, my office was asked to defend Wright. Even after seeing what I'd seen, I couldn't abandon my friend.
Objection!
There must have been someone else there at the moment of the crime. Justice? I just said I saw no one. Not a soul. But that goes against what Mr. Wright said. Ah, yes. This mysterious 4th person. Who would conveniently be the real killer, I suppose. Glad to see we agree, Mr. Gavin. Let me pose a question then. Tell me, what possible reason did the real killer have to swap the cards in the victim's hand? Perhaps you can show us the reason why such a thing would be necessary? How can I show something I can't find myself? Remember, Apollo? The card that was swapped out was the 5th ace. The 5th ace, right?
Oh, Mr. Justice? The question of why the killer would swap out a card has been raised. Can you point the reason?
I kind of want to just see with the rest. For 9, let's hold off. No, not yet, Your Honor. Not yet. Ha, pathetic. Not yet. Try not ever.
Well, Mr. Gavin?
Oh, I'm willing to wait for as long as it takes. Red, I don't even know what the heck I'm looking for. Hello. Yes, sir? Don't forget, you already know the answer. You just don't realize it yet. I already know the answer? Take a moment to think it over again, okay?
Hold it!
Wouldn't it have been better to wait for the police to arrive? Remember though, by that time, I was already Wright's defense attorney. It wouldn't do me need to become part of the investigation. That makes sense. Does it? I'm confused. Well, what happened next?
Hold it!
Where were you when the phone call came? I had already left the Boorish Bull Club by that time. On the phone, he asked me to defend him. Naturally, I was surprised. I accepted. However, I couldn't abandon him. So kind of you. So far, everything jives with Mr. Wright's testimony, I think. Is it going to be a problem for you to cross as having your own boss? I'm fine. Who was it that told me
Who was it that told me never to pull punches in cross-examination? It was you, Mr. Gavin. I learned it from watching you.
Hold it!
Nah, we can do the percent evidence.
Objection!
Probably should have said it. Oh well. It's now or never. The defense would like to present evidence to the court. Evidence showing the reason why the card was swapped out.
Then go ahead and point out your reason, Mr. Justice. Why did the killer take the fifth ace?
Take that!
My reason is, this.
Is that an ace? Why, it's got blood on it! Okay, right next to the spine!
What? This is insane! Why wasn't I told about this? Why?
Could this be the missing fifth ace?
Inconceivable. I could go. What are you doing with that card? Well, that's the thing. Why is Mr. Gavin so upset? It's just a fishy card from some fishy girl. Oh, that card? It's mine. That is, I picked it up at the Boris Bowl Club that night after the murder occurred. I gave it to my daughter. Cards are her stock and trade after all.
Objection!
No, impossible, unacceptable. The court can't accept this evidence. It's a fraud. A fraud? How could you be so sure? What? I would think the only person who would claim it was a fraud would be the one who took the real card from the crime scene. The real killer. Allow me to elaborate. What if this trace of blood was the reason? The reason for the killer to take the card from the scene of the crime.
Where are you going with it? Where are you going with this?
Take another look at the photo on the victim's his head. At the moment of the crime, his hat fell to the floor, and a trickle of blood ran from his forehead down to the back of his head. Couldn't a drop of that blood have fallen on one of the cards? I suppose. The killer then took the card to hide the blood.
Objection!
Regardless, that evidence is non-permissible. Oh, right. Regardless of how you wasted the last 7 years, you used to be a lawyer. You know what a serious crime it is to conceal evidence. Oh, we can discuss the finer points of our legal system later. What's important now is that I've answered your question. What are you talking about? You wanted to know why the killer would have taken the card from the crime scene? And now, I've told you. That one drop of blood would have been decisive evidence, you see.
Objection!
This is conjecture! Baseless!
Objection!
Oh, I assure you, it's quite based. What? It's amazing, really. How a single drop of blood on a single card can lead us to the truth. It's quite simple. Well, Apollo? Yes! Try picturing the scene of the crime in your head.
The murder took place in the hideout. The body of the luckless victim was found at the poker table. And before the killer swapped a card out, there was a single card with a drop of blood on it in the victim's hand. Given this, there is one decisive problem with this scene.
Well, what is it?
Let's keep it simple, shall we? Given that there was a drop of blood on a card, whose position in this diagram doesn't fit? The victims, the killers, the witness, the second witness? Whose position doesn't fit with the bloody card? I'm gonna try this. Yep, the second witness's position is the problem.
The second witnesses? That would be Mr. Gammon, yes!
The second witness's position is far less problematic than yours right now, Justice. Or perhaps perilous is a better word.
I cannot see what the bloodstain card has to do with the second victim's location. I'm afraid you're more than pro appellant. Your Honor, one more chance, please.
I think I jumped the gun on that one.
I suppose. Don't forget over, Mr. Justice.
Well, isn't it the victim's position that's the problem?
I don't follow your logic here, Mr. Justice.
Well, look, the victim was struck in the head, setting him back in his chair. You'd think any blow would fall behind the body, not onto the table in front of him.
Oh!
Take a look at this at the photo again. If he bleeds in that position, the blood would fall on the floor, not on the card.
Why, that's right! So what does this mean?
Incidentally, we were sitting in swivel chairs. Swivel chairs? Oh man. Apollo, try turning the chair around.
The chair is facing the other way!
It would have to be. So we have to assume that at the time of the murder, the victim's chair was facing away from the table.
When Mr. Wright returned from informing the police, which way was the chair facing?
When I came back to the room, the chair was facing as seen in this photo. That would mean the killer turned the chair back around. Let's take the next step. Look at the diagram once more. We now know the victim was facing away from the table at the time of the murder. But this creates another significant contradiction. Again? Let's test your reasoning skills again, shall we? Apollo, whose location on this diagram contradicts our new understanding of the crime? The victim, the killer, the witness, the second witnesses. This equation, Chris. I jumped the gun. I did this way too soon. It's definitely here now. What doesn't make sense is the second witnesses. You mean to say I don't make sense? Oh, no, of course you do, sir. As I thought. Help!
Mr. Justice?
Damn it!
You see something? You kind enough to show the court one more time? What do you mean?
Okay. Apollo. Oh yeah, right. The victim was struck from the front, correct? Indeed. Well, wouldn't it be hard for the killer to hit him from the front? Sitting where his indicator currently is? I would think that'd be quite hard, yes. I jumped the gun so much in this. Yes, but what you're saying makes no sense. Why would the victim suddenly turn the face away from the wall in the middle of a game? I believe a significant reason will soon come to light. What? There's something in this diagram that makes far less sense, actually.
Looking into the diagram. Hello. If the victim was struck while he was sitting as shown here, where would his assailant be standing? Harping on the diagram. What? But no room to put a mark where the killer should be. Don't worry. Let's think it through and see what we find. We knew the victim was facing towards the wall at the time of the crime. That's the only thing we know for sure. Try to forget everything. Put everything else out. Or with them. It's gonna be here. The killer would be standing, well, here. You get the point. You get points for flair. That's about all you get. I thought I was onto something there too. I hardly need to point out that standing there would be impossible. The victim was facing a solid cupboard. Or are you claiming the killer climbed up cupboard and hit him from above? Ha! It's simple logic, really. If this was the only place the killer could have been standing, then that means that at the very moment of the crime... Wait, I know! At the moment of the crime, the cupboard wasn't there!
What's this now?
I mean, that's the only explanation, right, Mr. Gavin? Your Honor, I have a suggestion for the defense. We should arrange to examine the cupboard in the hideout immediately.
Elif, send the team to the crime scene immediately. Have them try to move the cupboard.
Ah, Your Honor.
What?
There's one more thing your man should look for. Please give this to the bailiff.
Yes, I see. You do belong in the courtroom of law, Mr. Wright.
I do my best. But let's forge ahead here while we win. Look at the diagram once more. It's been changed. If the killer was standing here at the time of the crime, then this cupboard wasn't here, which means... Hello, try moving the cupboard. Thank you. As you can see, the cupboard was the problem. At the time of the murder, it had to have been shown here. Now everything is in place to reconstruct the moment of the crime. Oh my. What's this?
What is it now?
Look at the diagram of the crime scene once more. It appears we found yet another contradiction. This is where I jumped the gun. What I believe to be the final contradiction, in fact.
Huh? Oh, dang!
Notice something, Apollo? Our line of deduction is rapidly approaching its logical conclusion.
Now then, Mr. Justice, please point to the new contradicting indicator. Is it the victim, the killer, the witness, the second witness? Which indicator in this diagram contradicts with...
Nice, Kristoff. About this cupboard. Are we okay with assuming it was smooth? Sure, why not? Well, if it was, something really doesn't fit. The cupboard would completely cover up the window to the stairs!
Oh!
Okay. That's right! Someone standing outside wouldn't be able to see in! Someone like Mr. Gavin! What? What did you say? Oh! Isn't the coolest defense of the West losing his cool? Don't expect me to play along with your little game, right? Okay. It's only a game until someone gets killed, Mr. Gavin. And someone was while the window to that room was blocked. Sorry. To that room was blocked by a cupboard. So, Mr. Gavin, perhaps you'd like to explain to the court exactly where did you witness the crime scene from?
Yeah.
Excuse me, Your Honor!
Order! This is a court of law and I will have order!
We just received a word from our investigation team at the Boorish Bowl Club. They examined the cupboard at the height, Your Honor.
Oh? And what did they find?
Well, Your Honor, it turns out there was a secret passage behind it.
What?
Ah, yes. I believe I mentioned something at the start before. This is one of the tricks that many of our regulars know about. Do you remember him saying something about that? Now that he mentioned it. A secret passage is a handy thing to have when you're engaged in illegal goings on. Never know when you might need to duck away from the eyes of the law. So the room has a secret passage? Where does it go? The other side connects to the restaurant above. The underworld bosses could get away from the cops. And enjoy a cold bowl of borscht, no doubt. Just like our killer. You see where our line of simple deduction reasoning has led us, Apollo? I see it, but I don't believe it. A girl wasn't kidding when she said I needed this trump card for the last hand. At the time of the murder, the window was blocked, and the victim's hat was only off his head for a few minutes between Mr. Smith's murder and Mr. Wright's return from calling the cops. In other words, the only place anyone could have seen the victim's bald head was from inside the hideout. Well, Mr. Gavin, come on, say something.
Dare I say what really happened that night?
Actually, I think we can probably figure it out ourselves at this point. That night, for whatever reason, our killer had a date with Mr. Smith. A date with destiny. There he crouched, hidden in the secret hideaway behind the cupboard. Holding his breath, waiting for the right moment. Or just the right moment, sorry. Then the chance came, and he took it. Wait! Why did you do that? Wait here! I'll get help! Miss Olga O'Reilly was like cold, striking at Mr. Smith. But his time was soon to come. Mr. Wright went upstairs to call the cops, leaving Mr. Shady Smith alone in the hideout with the unconscious stealer. Then our killer stepped out from the secret passage and into the hideout. The victim must have heard the cupboard sliding aside. He wheeled his chair around to look, and after the deed was done, the criminal must have seen the blood on the card. He would have, of course, realized the need to destroy the evidence. That single spot of blood told the whole story of the crime. Too bad for him he didn't linger any longer in the hideout that night. If he had, he might have noticed the cards on the floor. And the fact that they were all red.
Well, it seems this trial has taken yet another turn. I'm truly sorry I had to see this day come, Mr. Gavin.
Mr. Gavin?
Mr. Peng!
Yes, Your Honor?
The prosecution will continue its investigation. As for Mr. Phoenix Wright, the defendant, he is hereby cleared of all suspicions.
Ah!
Believe me when I say that I don't believe this is happening, Mr. Gavin. But I'm afraid circumstances called me to issue a warrant for your arrest immediately.
Objection!
Oh, no need to apologize. I've rather enjoyed myself. Hi, it's not every day you get to see... Sorry, it's not every day you get to witness a legendary attorney's sturdy tactics firsthand. Your point, Mr. Gavin. Frankly, Your Honor, I'm shocked that a person of your caliber would be taken in by such a low-grade parlor trick.
Excuse me?
The defendant is cleared of all suspicions. This is hardly the time for jokes, Your Honor. Mr. Wright hasn't proven anyone's guilt or innocence here. What he has done is use illegal evidence to put the blame on someone else. And not just anyone else, but me, his own defense attorney.
Illegal evidence?
Objection!
Let me ask you, Mr. Gavin. Is there still any reason at present to suspect me of wrongdoing? Of course. This bottle, for instance. The bottle of grape juice Mr. Wright was drinking? How do you intend to explain away the fingerprints on the murder weapon? Not just any fingerprints. Am I right, Mr. Pean? Actually, yes. The fingerprints on the bottle were, upside down. I seem to recall this being an issue earlier. The court, in this case, demand an explanation. I could think of only one reason why one would hold a bottle upside down, and that is to hit someone with the bottom of the bottle. Well, Your Honor. See how the codfish squirms to the last. Well, Apollo? Yes? Your boss seems awfully concerned about this bottle still. But I'm sure you can come up with a suitable explanation. Just like that. Yeah. Just like what? How would anyone grab a bottle upside down other than to... Don't let him trick you into thinking his explanation is the only legitimate one. Is there really another? Take another look at the court records. I bet you'll find a simple answer there, in plain sight. Ah! There is another way. How about you just say the answer in plain words?
It would be hasty to deliver a verdict with unanswered questions, indeed. Well, Mr. Justice?
Mr. Gavin said that the court on this case demands an explanation. Don't worry, justice won't leave until justice is done.
Perhaps the defense would care to enlighten the court. I'm sure you have them explain why the fingerprints on the bottle were upside down.
This is actually easier to show you. Rather show you than explain, Your Honor. Place this bottle on the floor next to your chair.
Excuse me? On the floor?
Yes, now reach down and pick it up without getting out of your chair. Ah! See, you naturally go to pick up the bottle at its neck with your fingers upside down. And yet, that would make sense. Look at this photograph taken on the night of the murder. The defendant, Mr. Wright, sat here, playing piano, bottles of grape juice on the floor to the side of his piano bench. Would he have naturally picked up the bottles upside down several times?
Wow! I can't believe it was that simple!
Recall our dinner that evening, Christoph. I was drinking my usual juice then, too. Basically, you used the ball on the table to do the deed, but then you must have remembered, so you went and picked up one of the bottles from under the piano, and you switched the bottles. You took one of Mr. Wright's bottles and used... Sorry, made it look like the murder weapon.
Order, order, order! Okay. What do you have to say to these charges, Mr. Gavin?
Fascinating. So this is the legendary attorney's famed tactic of misdirection.
What?
You claim that I switched the bottles. Where is your proof?
Proof?
Well, that's, as I thought, more baseless conjecture. I'm afraid your bottle of proof is quite empty.
Objection!
I wouldn't be so sure about that. Your Honor, when you initiated the investigation of the hideout earlier, do you recall I requested an additional investigation?
Oh, yes! I have your memo about it down here. Retrieve the bottle from under the piano at the Boris Sport Club. And here's one of the bottles in question.
What? Are you going to dust that for fingerprints too? I would be surprised if any were on that but his. Mr. Gobbins probably wouldn't make such a novice mistake true. That bottle won't bear a trace of anything. Say, Apollo.
Yes?
Why don't we go ahead and examine that bottle?
But why?
Just remember me. Mr. Wright? That bottle will solve this case once and for all.
What?
That's some bottle.
Oh, look! It's the Five of Hearts! There's something inside the bottle! What's this?
Can't.
It can't be!
Recall that unpleasant woman's testimony for a moment. Mr. Ugo, really? Yes, our little swindler in the Pocha. That night, I planted the card like I was supposed to. Mr. Wright lost the last hand just like he was supposed to. And Smith searched them. But the planted card was gone.
The trap failed! Wait! This isn't... You're telling me that this is... the planted card you disposed of?
The one you mentioned in this piece of testimony. I happened to put my hand in my pocket and find a card. Yes, I snuck a peek at and found that it was the Five of Hearts. I had a feeling something might happen, so I disposed of the card before the game.
Dispose? Where?
There was an empty bottle of grape juice I had been drinking right beside me. I threw the card inside the bottle. Five of Hearts. This is the card. The bottles were swapped. And the only one who could have done that was the fourth person in the club that night.
You! Mr. Christoph Gavin?
He still got it. That is all.
This right, dear revenge. Phoenix Wright.
Revenge?
Revenge for the offense that took away your attorney's badge 7 years ago.
My past is like my logic. Straight and true. Nothing's changed. All I did was point the finger of justice in the proper direction. Fine. I'm glad we could have this little head of tea, right?
This is insane! What about me? Don't I get to prosecute anyone?
I believe this time we finally come to the end of our trial. Mr. Peng, do you have a report for us on Christoph Gavin?
He's admitted everything. We're proceeding to the rest now.
You see, still, one has to wonder why he would do such a thing. He didn't even have a connection to the victim, did he?
Not that we know of.
Mr. Wright, have you anything to add?
I'm afraid I can't shed any more light on the matter.
But this victim, Mr. Shelley Smith, his occupation was listed as traveler. All profession to be sure, and that's all we know about him.
I arrange a follow-up investigation, Your Honor.
Good, Mr. Wright.
Yes?
7 years, and you still haven't lost your touch.
Mr. Gavin was a man with much significance for me, both as a friend and a lawyer.
He was extremely talented, to be sure.
I needed two things before I could confront him. The first was a place where no injustice could be tolerated. This courtroom. The second was a man who would tolerate no injustice. In other words, a defense attorney. You, Apollo. Me? This is a dark time for our legal system. A twisting of justice brought on by our very own initiative trial system. We have to set it right.
Mr. Wright,
our work lies ahead of us, and I, for one, I'm looking forward to it.
well, this seems like a good time to announce the verdict. The court finds the defendant, Mr. Phoenix Wright, not guilty. Court is adjourned.
Okay, April 20th, 4:28 p.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby number 3. Thanks, Apollo. You came through, just like I thought you would. I'm pretty sure I didn't do a thing in there. Was you who cornered the killer? I couldn't have done it by myself. You sent it too today, didn't you? Your ability? Ability? Yes, a sensitivity I lack. You'll come to understand it soon enough. Wait, wonder if he means... I have one question for the witness stand. You said you saw the moment the defendant hit the victim. Is that's true? Of course it's true. What's this weird vibe I'm getting? What? What was that, Mr. Wright? You'll have to find the answer to that question yourself. The answer? Right. Today was full of questions without answers. Posted him about Mr. Gavin. What possible reason could he have had with to commit murder? Perhaps you'll learn that in the days to come. Huh? Wait, you don't know, do you? This locket is the key. Huh? Oh, that reminds me. I met the girl whose picture is in your locket. Your daughter, right? That's right. She's my daughter. You know, you were right about this locket. Huh? I took this off his neck the night he died. Looks like our dear Russian scam artist saw me. So the truth is, this locket really did belong to him. Wait! But that's perjury! You testified! You said that locket was yours! I said no such thing, actually. Huh? I merely said that it was a locket with my daughter's picture inside. That is true. A subtle distinction, but a distinction nonetheless. And it's the truth. Wait, but then, why? Why was the victim wearing a locket with a picture of your daughter inside it? Sometimes the straightest path to the truth isn't the best one. Give it time. You're still getting started of your career. Speaking of which, I may be out of a job. I worked for Gavin's Law Office after all.
I still can't believe I just saw Mr. Goblin get led away in handcuffs. Apollo. Yes? How about coming to work for me? Eh? You mean at the Ragncool Law Office? I mean, there's not a single attorney in my generation that doesn't know it. I can't imagine that to be true, but... Wait, but then you're not a... Oh, I turned on my badge, yes. I'm not an attorney anymore. That incident 7 years ago. That legendary trial. At the middle of it all was one man. Phoenix Wright. The case reached its sad conclusions, and he left law for good. Have you ever thought about coming back to the courts? I'm not qualified to stand in the court of law, I'm afraid. Don't you notice in today's trial? Sorry, didn't you notice in today's trial? There was a single piece of forged evidence. Forged evidence? What are you talking about? I'm talking about the evidence that shouldn't have assisted. Another's magician's trick. Huh? One piece of evidence that struck me as odd. It's true. It just seems, well, too perfect. I bet this was the forged evidence. You mean this, don't you? I got this from your daughter, Mr. Wright. Yes, that car couldn't have been found at the crime scene. Why? Because the killer took it with him when he left. Leaving the wrong car in its place, luckily for us. The court can't accept this evidence. It's a fraud. Fraud? How can you be so sure? I would think the only person who could claim it was a fraud would be the one who took the real car from the crime scene. The real killer. My verdict was already handed down 7 years ago. And you really... Yes, I forged this card. One look at the crime scene should have told you it wasn't real. But you can't do something like that and call yourself an attorney. Who's calling themselves an attorney? Apollo? So it's true. The rumor is true. 7 years ago. None of that matters much now, does it? Yeah. Ah! I punched him. It's your story from here on out, Apollo. Perhaps I can help you turn the next page. My office address. Drop in if you like. Mr. Wright? Oh, how about your uppercut? Try yelling, "Take that!" next time. I find it packs a little more punch. Apollo, thanks for the day. I had a good time. And with that, Mr. Wright walked out the door. And that's how my first trial ended. A lot of mysteries went unsolved. And at the time, I had no idea they were all related. Every mystery that day, connected by a single thread of logic. I find that out soon enough. My name is Apollo Justice, attorney in law. And this is how my story begins. And that's what we were in. So we did basically the first trial. Turnabout trumps. That'll be it. So hope you guys have a good day this week. We'll be back on this tomorrow. We'll be kicking things off with, as you can see, Turnabout Corner. This is a trial. I'll just leave it at that. I'll see you next time. Bye.